An example of a block level element would be a div, right? Div here. So the lesson for today, we'll be talking about CSS, how to style these forms here, how to style a web page, right? So I'll be showing you more examples of block level elements and inline elements. I explained what they are the last time we talked. So in today's lesson, we'll be talking about CSS. So there are two ways to include a CSS style sheet. But first, let's talk about what is CSS, right? So CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. This is like a language that we use to style our our web pages, right? So you can either include your CSS styles here in your head section, right? You can include your CSS styles here like this, or you can create a new file and then link it right up here, right? Also in your head. So if I were to go and create a new file here, I'll call it style. Now you can call it whatever you want, .css. Just don't forget the .css. The name has to make sense. I'm calling it style. You can also call it main.css. So I save it there. And then to include this style sheet right here, all I have to do is use a link. Link. And then href. So this is how you'd include your style if you had it in a separate file, right? This is how you would include it. But for now, I'm just going to comment this out, right? I'm going to include my styles here on this page for now. So let me show you what I'll be building with you guys today to show you all the things that we learned the last few weeks. So this is the form we'll be building. First, we'll be building a navigation, a horizontal navigation, and then a form. This form, we'll be styling this. I'll be showing you how to do all this and explaining everything as I go. Yeah. So first things first, with CSS, you need to be able to select the elements that you want to style, right? Say for instance, I wanted to select the body, right? I wanted to give this body a background color, right? So I'd go body and then open two curly braces like that. And then my styles for the body will go in here. So let's say I wanted to center the text. So text line. Right. Save and see. As you can see, everything is centered now. entire form and its content is centered inside the page. So this here, we call it an what is it? An element selector. You know, it's the name of the element that you want to select. Once you select that, open up two curly braces, and then you start writing your styles here, right inside. So let's say I wanted to change the background color for this page. Background color. Let's change it to black. And then now, since the background color is black, we need to change the color of the text to a visible color. Let's use white. Right. Let's see what we have here. So let's refresh. So as you can see now, the background of the register page is now black, right? Good. So let's start working on our form. So hopefully we'll be done by 1:30, I think. So what I'm going to do is open up a new folder, a new project, right? Someone over here, open folder. Okay, inside this folder, I'll copy another folder and bring it over here for images. Okay, good. What else? Okay. I'll create a new file. I'll call it index. Let me save it first. I'll call it index.html. Then I'll go register. So last time we spoke, I also spoke about the HTML semantic tags. One of those tags is the header tag. So I'm going to use that one first. So the first thing I want to do here to create the form, to create the page that I showed you, to have the header tag. Okay. Header tag. Right. Inside my header tag, I'll have an H1 for a logo. Let me open this side by side and try to squeeze this here, and then let me bring in the page. Okay. Okay, for the logo here, I'll use an H1. H1. And then inside that H1, I'll include a hyperlink, right? Include a hyperlink, and so remember we said if you don't want your hyperlinks to go anywhere, you just include the hash symbol there. And then I'll go logo 101 like that. Okay, maybe I should make it a little bigger. We can close that. Like that, right? And then the next thing we want to include here is the URL, right? This is a list. This is an ordered list and an ordered list, right? That's what we want to include right next to our logo there. Now for your logo, you can also include an image here. You can include an image here. Usually you see an image here. Sure, it doesn't have to be text. So for our URL, I'll have URL. And then inside we want to have an li list item. Let's just copy it. So inside I'm going to have another hyperlink.
Solomzi, Letabo has a question there.
Okay, sure, Letabo.
Well, I just wanted to ask, does Notepad support what we're doing today?
Notepad?
Yes.
Yeah, sure, it does.
Okay.
Yeah, but I wouldn't recommend it. If you don't have Sublime Text or any other text editor, sure, you can use that one.
Sublime Text.
Yeah, Sublime Text. Or VS Code. You can just Google VS Code download. Because I think most of you now do understand the basic tags, right? So there's no need to be using a a notepad. Okay, sure. I will include a hyperlink inside this list item here. So for that, for this hyperlink, I need to include the href tag here. It's not going anywhere. And then between the hyperlinks, let's say home, right? And then I'll just copy this. Copy the hyperlink. Let's just paste it here. And also paste. Change this from home to about, and then change this from to contact. Right. So let me save and open this, what we have here so far. All right, this is what we have so far. Now this looks nothing like this here yet, but we're going to style it using CSS to make it look exactly like this from here. Okay, now that we have this, the logo and our navigation, let's go to our, okay, I made a tiny mistake here. There's another tag called a nav tag. It's new. So let's use that here. So in here I will include everything, the logo, and we'll cut it. Yeah. Open this up like that so you can see. Okay, sure. Let me save and see. There won't be any changes here, right? Okay, small space there. So below the header tag, I'm going to include another tag called the section. Inside my section here, this is where I'm going to include the form, right? So I will first include the H1 because I think we have an H1 there. H1 it says please fill out the form, right? Underneath this we have the actual form. So here inside the form I'm going to include a div now to align my items. So IV inside this div I'm going to include a label. Let's include that. Right, this label for this first input, it'll be first name, right? First name like so. Underneath the label, we include our input of type text. The name you can give it first name. For the name, it has to be like a single word, or you can use a a hyphen to separate them. It has to be like a single string. You can't write it like this here for the name attribute. But okay, so we have the label and the input itself. This is where you write your first name for submission. So what I'll do, I'll just copy this. That, paste it below a few times. So okay, let's see. I have first name, this will be last name, this will be email, then the other one will be for password, and then the last one will be for confirm password. Before I include the button, let's see here, this will be name, the name here, last name. I don't have to change the type, it's still text. And then for this one, this will be email. This will be email. Now I have to change the type to email because we're expecting an email here. The name will be email here. And then this one will be password. Password. Also the type should be password here. Change also this. Password. And then this will be this will also be password. For name, we can call it password too. call it password 2. Okay, underneath the last div, let's include a button here. So input. Submit. So, okay, now let's save this and see what we're working with. Okay, so this is what we have now. Let's see. Okay, this is what we have now. As you can see, we're still far off in terms of the 2 pages looking the same, right? Sure, Kiriboni.
Hi, Solomzi.
Hello.
I want to ask. I want to ask you, like, it's okay to, like, we don't actually have to, okay, we might use that step. We might use that text link to create a form without even have to using the Microsoft Word by just typing like manually. We can still use the hypertext link.
Sublime text, you mean text editor?
No, like I don't understand the concept, but I'm asking that is it okay if we can just like use the same thing that you're showing us without even having to go to Microsoft Word and typing the form like manually?
So it's okay.
You don't
I don't
need
understand the question.
like
Sure.
ngobusibonisa like le form like ngokuza i-hypertext link angithi. Like
This
there's no
hypertext link ukhuluma nge-text editor le engiyisebenzisayo.
yeah, yonke lento leyo yenzayo lapha ne. So even if singasebenzisa yona, is it okay? Because of like sometimes we normally type like ama form Microsoft Word. So is it okay to actually go to lento le sisebenzisayo then singasebenzisi Microsoft Word? That's my question.
No, you can't use the Microsoft Word for this. There is a video. I think Melusuna a video to show you which how you can use your what is it, Notepad. Yeah, but
Yeah,
look,
I think what she wants is just the form, because you see, when using Microsoft or Excel, there's a part whereby I forgot the tab for create. Is it data or is it what? What's the name of the tab where you use to create the forms? We have it in Excel, we have it in Word. But in Excel is an inbuilt tool called, what do you call, Visual what?
Visual Basic.
Visual Basic, we can use that even to create the forms, to create the formula. Visual Basic, you can even like run your own formula using Visual Basic there. You can even create the forms using Visual Basic. But it will be like a long way, because Microsoft has already created an easy way of you like you just drag some of the tools that you need for you to create your form. So yes, you can do it using Visual Basic inbuilt in Excel. I think Word also has Visual Basic, if I'm not mistaken, but I know that I've used it in Excel, especially to create your own form, your own formula. If there's the formula that you're looking for is not there in Excel, then you can create your own using Visual Basic. And then the forms, yes, you can create them, but I think it will be like only for that Excel document, not for web pages. This what Solomzi is busy with is now for web pages, right? It will be different from the let's say you can create the forms maybe for your invoice or for anything that requires people to type in their information in Excel. But what Solomzi is working on now is for web pages, unlike what you're going to be doing with the Excel and the Word.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay, sure. Oh yeah. The input, we need a value for this. Value. We want to say submit. Right. This is the submit button. and the value is the text that that appears on the button here. Okay, it's there already. Okay, let's see. We now have the we have the form. Let's see. Am I missing anything? We have the logo, we have the navigation, we have the H1, and we have the form itself, right? So in terms of structure, we have everything we need. We have the HTML, we have the navigation and the logo. Now it's time to style this entire thing. So to style it, what I like to do first, since like I said, there are two ways that I usually use to include style. Now the way that I'll be using it, I'll be including my style sheet in the head tag, right? Inside the head, right? It has to be inside the head, as you can see here. It has to be inside that. Like I said, you can also come inside your folder, your root folder where you're working, right click it and create a new file. Save it as, you can call it style .css. You can call it style.css. Now, including a style sheet like this is the recommended way of doing things, but since we are still learning here, guys, I just wanted to contain everything in one file to make it easier for you guys to find everything in one file. But I will show you at the end of this lesson, I will show you how to take this and use it and include it here, and then I'll show you how to include the external style sheet here later on. But for now, the first thing I want to do is to select everything in my page and sort of like reset the browser CSS style, because although it may look ugly like this, all browsers include a basic style for all pages. As you can see from our page here, we haven't included any styles, but all browsers include a default style for all web pages that are created. For instance, the font size here, this underlining on all the hyperlinks here, that's all the browser. I haven't included that here. So the first thing I want to do is select everything on my page, and we use a static for that. Static curly braces, and then you hit enter. So the first thing I want to do is reset the margin. So margin, I want to set that to 0, and I want to reset the padding. Now we'll talk about what these two are. I want to set it to 0, and then okay, let me save that for now. So if I refresh, you see everything is pushed up against the left edge here of the browser, because I removed the margin and I removed the padding, right? So what is margin and what is padding? Let me just comment these out for now. Comment them out and save. So if I right click this element, if I right click it and hit inspect, my PC is a bit slow. Okay, so like I said, if you right click this element or any element on your page, hit right click and then click on inspect, it will bring out this dev tools thing here. I think I showed you the last time we worked out. Right, it will bring out this dev tools thingy here, and then if you hit the select, there's a select thing. If you are using Google Chrome, right, also Firefox has these things also. So if you go and click this here, okay, maybe hover over it here, there's the H1. If I click that, I should see styles here. Let's click on that. All right, you see there's this orange color around the logo there. That's the margin there, right? That's the margin of an element. Or maybe let me do it this way. Let me do it this way. Yeah, that's a good example here. Okay, when we talk about margin, this is part of the CSS box model. Now, when you include elements in your browser sees boxes, and these boxes they work like this. You have the content, right, and then the padding. You can include a border if you like, and a margin. This applies to block level elements. Your inline elements, they have the content, the padding, the margin, but they don't have the top and bottom padding or margin. Those are your inline elements. You cannot, rather they only have margin top and bottom, margin top and margin bottom, your inline elements, right? So if I go down a bit here, you can also go to W3 Schools. You'll find this for free, right? This website here. So the styles for this, if I click on try it myself. Okay. So when we say content, this is what we mean. So that box that I showed you here, if you go up a bit, content here, this is what we mean. It can be text, it can be an image, can be a form, but anything included inside, in this case, the div, the content would refers to the text in this case. Because if you look at the HTML here, you have your H2, you have a paragraph, and then you have this div with text inside it, right? This is the div they are targeting here. They changed the background color to a light gray. They gave it a width. Now, that's another thing. All block level elements have this property called width. So the width would be from here all the way to here, right? They gave it a border of 15 pixels. The border is the green part here. Let me change it to, how do I refresh here? Because this is too big here.
Just click on run, you refresh. It will refresh automatically.
Oh, there's one there. Yeah, there. See the green part, that's your border. The padding, that's the space between the content and the border inside the div. The space between the text and the border, that's your padding. The space outside the element, outside the element, between the border and the edge of the browser here, or other elements, as you can see here. That's your margin. And your margin, we have a margin of 20 pixels. Now, if I were to increase this to say maybe like 50, I keep on hitting save, run. Let's hit run there. You saw that it moved a bit. The space between this paragraph and this div here has increased. It's now 50 pixels. And the space between the edge, the left edge here, the left edge and the div itself is now 50 pixels. That's your margin. Padding is inside, the space between the text and the border of the element. The space between the text here and the border, that's your padding here. The space that you see around this is because of this padding here of 50 pixels. And then your border, that's your green line around your element. Now the solid here, it can also be, that's your border style. It can also be dashed. If I click on run, you see now the border is dashed there, but we usually use solid, leave it as solid. And click on run there. And then the 5 pixels, when it comes to borders, it refers to the thickness. You saw that it was 15 and it was huge, but I decreased it to 5 pixels. That's your border there. So that's what we mean when we say the CSS box model. Now you can go to go to W3 Schools and learn more about it. They explain everything, the content, the padding, the border, the margin. They will explain anything in great detail. So back to our project now. Where's the page? No, let me close this. Yeah. Back here, I'll close the dev tools. Okay, back here. So we're now clear what the margin is. The browser by default inserts some margin and padding to all your pages. So if I save this and go back and refresh, you see everything now is pushed up against the edge of the browser and the top of the browser there. All right, so the other thing I want to include, which pertains to CSS box model, is the box sizing property. Box sizes, we want to set this to border box. Now, let me go back to that W3 example. When we're calculating width of an element, right? The width, if you're calculating the width, it will come and the browser will come in and say, okay, the width is 300 pixels, right? The entire width of the thing. But if you use if we inspect it, right, the width would actually be 300 plus the left and right padding, which will make it 400, because the left and right padding, if you add padding here and padding on this side, right, that would give you 100 pixels, and you add it to the width, that will give you 400 pixels. And that may not be what you want in most cases, right? That's what the browser does. You set the width to 300 pixels, but because of border also is added, because of border, padding, and margin, you'll find that your width is actually way more than the width that you set here, right? So if you, let me see if I can inspect this. All right, if I click on the div here, as you can see, yeah, I don't know if you can see, there's a sort of like dimension thingy that says 410, but the width here, if you add the width is 300, we set the width to 300. If you look here, just look here, somewhere here, if I hover over this, you see 410 by 290. Can you all see that, guys?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's what I was talking about. We set the width to 300 pixels, but here on the browser it says 410 by 290. The 290, that's the height. We're not too worried about that. The width for this element is 410 because it's adding the border on the left and on the right. This is 5 pixels and this is 5 pixels. That gives me 10, making the entire width to 310. Now when I add the left padding and the right padding too, that gives me 410 pixels. The entire width of this element becomes 410 pixels. Now that may not be what you want when you're creating a website. That's where this box sizing border box property comes in. What this does is when you set your element like this, when you where's the page now? When your element is set like this and you set the border box property, right? Let's see, box sizing. Let's set it to border box. So if I click on run, yeah, you see now what it does is it includes padding and the border as part of the width. So what it will do, it will subtract the padding, both the left and right paddings, from the set width, in this case 300. So if I hover over this again, where is it now? Where's the selector? So if I select this, we have the div. We have the div now. You see the div now is 300 pixels. That's because of that border box, that box sizing property. If you set it to border box, it includes your padding, your border, as part of the entire width. Now, I hope that makes sense. Are there any questions so far? No questions? Okay. Okay, moving right along. Now, this page has a background, right? There's a background image. So I'll show you how to include that. So I'll target the body tag. Body tag. Set the background property. Set the background. And then URL. I want to go to images, same directory, and then images. Inside the, let me change the name of this image. It's quite long. Let's change it to BG.
So guys from Retro and HP, this is your practical assignment, right? I'm expecting to get this from you on Friday, right? So whatever we're going through now, I hope you're taking notes, right? So that you can submit this assignment, right? This is a practical assignment. So there's no way we're going to deem you competent on this learnership just because you completed all the assignments. There must be like practical assignments that you do, of which that's why we're going through this, so that at least you understand how to develop websites, how to create websites and stuff like that. So we're expecting to get this form, this web page, right, from you guys on Friday. If not Friday, we're gonna give you up to Monday. Okay, let's say Monday, and then you submit this to us. Right. So if even though you have completed all the assignments, submitted everything, but if we don't have these practical assignments, if you didn't submit the practical assignments, then you're still not yet competent. You'll need this by Monday.
Okay, sure. So we want to include this image, right? From the images folder. We want to include I think it's bg.jpg, right? We want to include that image. Then outside the URL, I want to set the no repeat. I want to set the no repeat. I want to set my background image not to repeat, and I want to center it. This is the background property. Center it both horizontally and vertically, and then I want it to cover the entire page. So I'm gonna go say cover. I want the background image to cover the entire page. Now I would need to set a height for this body. Now I may be wrong about this, but we'll talk about it later. I need to set a height to 100 VH. Now VH, that would be 100. VH stands for view height, right? The entire view height. It doesn't matter what it is, how big your browser is. VH stands for view height. So if I go back now to my register and refresh, okay, I'm not seeing my image. Let's see, images. Oh, there it is. Okay, that's the image there. So now that we have the image, also in the body, I want to set the font family. Right, let's set the font family. I'll set it to Arial. Or so the font family property, well, it does exactly that. This is how you define your font, right? If I were to change, if I change the, okay, maybe not here. Let me just save that. So let me tag it. As you can see, all my hyperlinks are blue. I don't like that. I want them white, right? So let's go back here and change that. All the hyperlinks in this page, I want them to be white. So I'll target them using the element selector, right? So for that, I'll just say, first I want to remove that underline on all using the text decoration property and set that to none, right? And then the next thing I want to do is change the color for all of these to white. Now with colors, you can use the hex codes if you are familiar with once there's Photoshop, then you'd know what a hex color is. Now if you don't, again, I will refer you back to W3C schools, right? There's everything you need here. There's everything you need on this website. There's HTML, CSS, and all other languages there. So I use, this is a hex code for white, right? And then now let's talk about class and IDs. So a class, that's another way that we use to select our elements. So I'm going to come in here to my nav, right? Give it a class of container. And then if I had more than one more than a single class for my nav, I can go on and say nav bar. Just all I need to do is include a space between my classes. Now, what is a class used for? Again, a class is used for selecting your elements, right? So what I'll do is, this is how you grab your classes. With elements, you write the name of the elements like the hyperlink here, but with classes you use a period, and then you'll go container, curly braces. Now I want to include styles for my container. First I want to set the max width, to 1 pixels, 1200 pixels, and then I want to set the margin to auto. Now I'll explain what auto does, and then I want to set the padding. To 10 pixels, and then the overflow property. I want to set this one also to auto, right? That's my container. So usually with web pages, let me just open this so that you can see. If I refresh here, okay, that image is too big. That's why it takes a while for it to load the image. Container. Okay. Seem to have a tiny bug here. Not sure why. Okay. Save that again. Oh yeah, there it is now. Okay, it's working now. Let me open it actually. Okay, so we're done with the container. The margin auto, right, centers the container in my browser in this case, right? We gave it a maximum width of 1200 pixels, and the this auto part, it will give equal margin on the left and right. You can't see it now, but if I were to give this a border, let's give it a border real quick. Let's say 2 pixels, white, solid, right? If I save this and come back here and refresh, just wait for it for a while. While we wait for that, yeah, there. So this from here to here, that's 1200 pixels, and as you can see, there's margin here and there's equal margin on the other side. There's equal margin on this side. That's the auto part. It gives equal margin on all sides of the container. In this case, I use the container, right? Now this can be like wrapper, you can call it wrapper, or, but again, it needs to make sense, right? Use names that make sense. So the next thing I want to target now is the header, is the navigation itself, right? Remember, our goal is to get here. Okay, Google Chrome is slow today, I don't know why. Our goal is to get here, right? Is to create this here. So the next thing I need to do now is to go on and grab, I'll include comments here, say navigation, right? And then I'll grab the header. Now, my header, I want to give my header a background color, right? Like black. Background. Use background color, and then you can use a background color of black, and then let's go up here. So now that my header has a background color of black, I'm gonna go down and grab header. Inside the header, I'm looking for a nav. Inside the nav, I'm looking for the H1, right? The H1 there. So what do I want to do with this? I want to float it. Float this to the right. I want to float this to the right. Right? And then I also want to remove those bullets that come with lists. Oh, actually, no, not on the. This one I just want to float to the right. Actually, I want to float this to the left, not right. So what does float mean? Well, let me just copy this and show you. I'm going to change the H1 to UL and float this to the right. To the right. I think it would make sense if we save and see what float does. So let's refresh. Oh no, not this. If we refresh this, let me go back to this file so I can open it. Lesson CSS basics. Let's close that. Okay, so this is what float does. As you can see, the logo is on the left and our navigation is on the right. Right? Yeah. There's the logo on the left, and there's our navigation on the right. Now, as you can see, it's still stacked one on top of the other. Let's fix that now. So if I go back to my code here, let me bring it like that. Let's bring it down. So what I want to do is target now the list items. So I'll just copy this. Just copy this. This li, and then the list items. I want to change them from block by accessing the display property. Now this is how you change an element from block level to inline. There are other properties, but we won't talk about those just yet. So I want to change this to inline so that they're all up here on the same line. Yeah, they all appear on the same line, right? So if I save and let's refresh that, as you can see now, home, about, and contact all on the same line, right? So the other thing I want to do now is okay, the next thing we want to do is target the hyperlinks now. So I'll copy this again because the hyperlinks are nested inside the links. So I'll copy that and then style the hyperlinks. First thing, I want to change the font size. Font size to 18 pixels. 18 pixels. Then I want to change, I want to align the text. Text, align. I want to align it to the center. And then the next thing I want to do is display them inline block. So display, say inline block. So an inline block is just a combination of both the inline and the block. Remember I said inline elements only have access to the top and bottom margins. The left and right margins, they don't have them. So by saying display inline block, we are getting access to those properties, the top and bottom margins. And yeah, top and bottom margins, and also padding. So now I can go in and add padding all around of 10 pixels, right? So let's save and see what we have so far. If I hit refresh there, see now they are evenly spaced there. It's because of that padding that we added there, right? So back here, okay, let's go back up a bit and remove this border. And then let's go down. Okay, we're here. Let's bring it down again. Now we're going to talk about the hover state. We're going to use a pseudo element. So I'm just going to copy this and paste it here, and then target the hover pseudo. This is a pseudo selector. I'll show you what it does in a minute. So when you hover, we want to change the color of the text to, let's say, 444. Let's get dark grayish color, and then let's change the background color. You can use background or background color. It'll work both ways. So we want to change this one to 123. That's a light gray color. Now, if you save, and let's refresh this and go to this page. If you hover over these things, okay, I'm not sure what's happening with Chrome today. For whatever reason, Chrome is extremely slow. Let's see. Okay, I'm not even seeing my changes here. Let's do a hand reload. Yeah, there's the hover effect. So if I mouse over these things, you see the color and the background changes home like that. That's because of this styling here. We targeted the hover pseudo selector. It's a pseudo selector, right? So let's see if it refreshed here. Okay. Okay, I really don't know. So let me. Still not showing. Oh, there it is. Okay, what I'll do is let me copy this. Let's try a different browser. Before I do that, let me see what's slowing me down here. Okay, that's fine. Okay, okay, so the next thing I want to target now is the H1, right? Oh no. Yeah, the H1. So there's an H1 here. As you can see, this is an H1. I want to change the color and the font size for that so that it appears more clearly. So let's go on and grab that. Okay, I'll go down, give this a class. Let's give this H1 a class of, you'll understand in a minute. Let's give it intro. I'll copy this and then I'll go back up. Yeah. So this will be H1 with a class of intro. Now, why am I doing it this way? Remember our logo too up here, our logo here is also an H1. The reason I gave this one a class is so that it only targets an H1 with a class of intro, and that will be this H1 here. It will only target the styles that I'll be using will only target this H1 there, not the logo. Okay, so first thing I want to do is text align center. I want this H1 to be in the center, and the color, that's to 9, and then let's change the font size. Change the font size to 45 pixels. Let's give it a margin all around of 40 pixels. Right. Good. Let's save that. Where's my Firefox? Okay, the image is not loading here too. Okay, I think it's because the image is too big. So, okay, there's our H1 there, right? Okay, it's fine. Let's go back here and then the H1. Now let's target the form itself now. We'll target the form. So for the form, first thing I want to do is give it a max width. Max width of 400 pixels. And then let's give it a margin or 2. And let's go and give it a background color. Background color, I'll use an Rgba. Explain what that is. Rgba, we'll say 11 for the first one, and then the second one we'll say 83, and then 98. 98, and we want it to be a little bit transparent, so we want to say 0.9. All right, Rgba is another way, CSS way of choosing a color, right? If I save this, let's refresh this. As you can see, that's the background color of the form, right? That's the color that I chose. Now you can go to W3 Schools and look at HTML, the CSS colors. They will explain what Rgba stands for. RGB stands for red, green, and blue. And the colors cannot go over, I think it's 255. You can choose any number between 0 and 255. If I have 255, 255, 255 here, that'll be white. If I have 0, 0, 0, that'll be black. And then you can choose any variation of these colors, and you'll get this effect. Now you'll see this thing is a little bit transparent there. That's because of this A here, the alpha. I said it, you can choose a value between 0 and 1. I chose 0.9. Now, if I choose 0.5 and save and refresh, you see this thing is more transparent now than before, right? Let's wait for that image. Okay, there. You see this thing is, the background for the form is more transparent now because the value for the alpha is closer to 0. 0, that's completely transparent, right? So I'll take it back up to 9 like that. And then the next thing I want to do is add some padding around my form. Set that to 10 pixels, and then I want to add a padding top. Padding top of 30 pixels. Padding top of 30 pixels, and let's add margin top also. Give it some space. Margin top of 20 pixels. Let's add a border radius. Yes. A radius of 10 pixels. Save and see what we're working with. Let's refresh. Okay, you can see the space here, the space there, the space there. Padding, the space between the elements inside the form and its border, that's your padding. The space, this space here, that's your padding. The space here, that's your padding. Your padding. Space between this button and here, that's your padding. The space between this form, the entire form, and this element here, that's your margin, right? Good. Now, let's target the label. So form, there's a label there. We want that one now. First thing I want to do is display, change it to block so that it displays on top of the input elements, right? And then change the color of text. Let's change the color for this to 999. Let's change the margin bottom for margin bottom. Let's change the margin bottom to what? 10 pixels. And then change the font size to 18. Font 18 pixels. Wait, let's change the yeah. Let's save that and see what we have so far. So if I were to refresh, you see the label now is on top instead of being on the side. It's on top of the input fields, right? So next thing we need to target now is, let's target the input fields themselves, right? So I'll show you now another type of selector, right? This one is more specific. So we want to go form. Inside there, we're looking for the input fields, but because we don't want to target the submit, because if you look here, the submit button is an input. We don't want to target this. We want to target the input fields. So what you do is you say type here equals to, and then you write the type of input that you want to target. In this case, this will be text. And what I'll do, I'll put a comma and copy this, move this, and then change this from text to email, change this to password, like so. So the first thing I want to do with these input fields is to give them a width, right, of 100%, meaning what does 100% mean? It means it'll be as long as its container. You'll see that in a minute. Let's give some padding to increase their size there. To increase the size of the input fields, let's give them a padding of 12 pixels. And then let's say margin to space them apart, to give them some space. I'll give it a margin bottom of 15 pixels. Right. And then I'll remove the border. Set the border to none. You can use none, or you can use 0 here. You can just say 0, the number. Now let's give them a border radius. Border radius, let's make it 5 pixels. Right. And then let's change the font size. Let's take the font size up to 16 pixels. 16 pixels. Save that. Now let's see what we have. There we go. So that's the, you see, let me explain the width property. I set it to 100% for the input fields, right? Now it spans all the way. Now the space here on the sides, because the form has padding of 10 pixels. The space that you see here, that's your padding of 10 pixels, right? But you see now this thing is starting to look much like this one here, right? Or for these ones, we have placeholders. You see the text inside here, that's your placeholder, right? Now I will leave it up to you to add that. And you see the label, the text here is centered, right? The text for the label is centered inside the form, right? Also, I'll leave it up to you to do that. So let's come back here. Now, what's left for us to do is, if I go back here, let us style the button here. Let us style this button, right? Okay, let's quickly do that. So if I go down, now I want to target, I'll just copy one of these, C, and change the type from text to submit, because that's our button there. So the first thing I want to do here is want to change it. Buttons by default, they are inline elements. I want to change that to, change its display property to block. And then I want to give it a margin, right? I'm going to use a shortcut here, margin of top and bottom of 15 pixels, top and bottom 15 pixels, and then left and right I want it to be auto, to center it. This is to center the button. And then give it a width, a width of 50%, 50, not pixels but percent, 50%. The 50% here, it'll be 50% of its parent element, the form. It'll be 50%, half the width of the form, right? So let's go down so we can see. Okay, width. Let's give it a padding. Padding of top and bottom 10 pixels. Left and right, let's say 12 pixels. Left and right. And then let's remove the border. Move the border. So, and then let's give it a border radius. Border radius of 8 pixels. 8 pixels. And then 8 pixels. Let's change the color for the text. We're going to change it to 999, light gray. And then let's align the text to the center. And then we want to change the font size. For the font size, we want 16 pixels. 16. Right. Now let's save and see what we have. Save that. Okay. Let's head back here. Let's refresh. It's stuck again. Okay. That's Firefox. Okay, there it is. See, there's my submit button there. This thing's still stuck. Okay. Let me see something here. Let's refresh this. Okay. There should be a hover effect on this thing here. Okay, so I'll grab onto this now. I'll copy this to add that hover effect. right? And then colon, hover.
Solomzi, we have a
Sure.
question there from Gidiboni.
Oh yeah, Kiriboni.
Oh, I want actually I want to ask that. Oh, each time we change the width, the padding, the margin, and the border. So each time we change that, it depends on how we change. So if we change the width, the padding, the margin, and the border, then the form changes its color and the width and the margin and the border. So basically, that's what we. It will depend on the number of the pixels and the border and the margin. That's what you're trying to say.
Okay. Each property here, when we're styling, each property has its own purpose. They are not linked. I don't know if I'm understanding you, but for instance, here, if you look at this just changes this. The button is an inline element by default. I change it to block. That's what it does. It just simply changes this to block so that I have access to the margin. Remember, I said the margin with inline elements, you only have access to the top and bottom margins. If this was still in line, I wouldn't be able to say auto here. It wouldn't work. And also the width property wouldn't work. Width doesn't work for inline elements. It only works for block level elements. Same thing with padding. So these three here, they all have to do with the CSS box model.
Also, it depends on the inbox element and inline box element. That's what you're trying to say.
Yeah. So
Oh.
if you want to learn more, just go to W3 schools. They explain this thing in more detail. There's the site here. Okay. Okay, I'll show it to you slowly. But all four of these elements, like these 5 elements, they all have to do with CSS box model, right? And you can find it on this site. It's W3 Schools. Check the link here. It's w3schools.com, and then you can choose HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and they will explain all of these things in detail, how to apply all of this.
Okay, thanks.
Sure. Okay, the last thing we need to do is change the hover state for the button, right? When you hover over the button, let's see if I can do it now. Where is this? Oh, not this, but this. Yeah. Not too sure. Let's minimize that. Okay. I really don't. Well, there it is. So you see, we have a hover state here, right? For the button, when you hover over it, it changes color. The text changes color too, right? So let's go on and do that now, and see. Okay. So I have to grab the button and then target the pseudo element, rather the pseudo selector. Use the pseudo selector hover. So I want to change the background color. Background color. I want to change the background color of the button to 999, and then let's change the color. Okay, for color I will use 1178. I will use RGB 1170. Right. Let's change the font weight. And then let's change the opacity. let's make it 0.7. 0.7. Opacity works the same way as, where's this? The alpha here. It makes the, in this case, it will make the button slightly transparent, right? Slightly transparent. So if I save that, saved, and I refresh here. Oh, the last, okay. Let me wait for it. Okay, there we have it. Oh, it's not this. It's this one here. Okay, there we have it. We now have a state. Now let's change the cursor to a pointer real quick here. I can do it here or I can do it here. It really doesn't matter. Let's change cursor. Let's make it pointer so that it is a pointer. If we save this and check it out real quick. Okay. Okay, there it is. You see now the cursor is now a pointer when you hover over this. Okay, so we're almost done. Now I promised to show you how to use an external style sheet, which is the recommended way. So what you have to do rather is copy everything between the style tags. Everything that we wrote between the style tags, copy that, right? We'll copy it and then copy and paste it on your CSS file, right? And then go back to your index HTML file, right? Everything inside your style tag, you need to let's go down, yeah, there we are. Now you need to highlight it, including the style tags. Go up, highlight, and remove everything there. And then we're going to use a link now. Here we just need to say, we need to reference, right, the style sheet here on your href. So I'm just going to say style because we both the index file and the style sheet are on the same directory. I just need to say style and the extension .css there, like so, and then save that. Now we've used an external style sheet, and if I save and go back to the browser and refresh, it'll take a while to load for whatever reason, but it will load the styles. And then again, this text here, I will leave it up to you guys to add that. Actually, for the project, you have to create also the login page. For the login page, we need just the first, we need the password, maybe the email only. Those are the only two input fields we need. We need the email and the password, right? So, okay, it's not grabbing my style for some reason. Let's see, did I make a mistake here? Style, oh, I'm supposed to save this. Save this, and then let's refresh. And there it is. Okay, there. Okay, so that's it for today, guys. Melus, they're gonna have to submit. Show Melus.
Sure, man.
Yeah, but I'm done with the form, so they'll submit the project to you. What I told them is they will have to add the login page. For the login page, we need the email and the password field. So they will create a form like this, the register. But when I click the login, it should take me to a login page. Sure, Kidiboni.
Yes, Solomzi, I want to ask that. So you're saying that for a project we should create a form where we will do the password and the email. So my question is that so if we if let's say I personally don't have a laptop, so how will I? Okay, what should I use to do the assignment on doing the password and the email?
You need a laptop. You are an IT student. There's no way you can pass this without the laptop or a desktop. Go to the internet cafe, use the stipend to buy a new laptop or a second-hand laptop, and then complete the assignments, right?
Okay.
I'm sorry, there's no any other way. You can't like use like we need like a laptop or a desktop at least like to be able to do these. Right.
So
So
is
what
it
I'm gonna do
possible?
is I'm going to share the video on the groups, and then you can follow along and then create your own. And then by next week Monday we need this project.
So is it possible if I use it with the cell phone
With a
with with my cell phone, like with my
cell
phone? Is
phone?
it
No.
possible?
Nah, you can't use your cell phone.
You need a laptop, Kidbone. You can't run away from this one. You need a laptop or a desktop, and then work on this. Yeah. So I know the HP guys, you all have laptops, right? So there's no excuse. And then the other guys, just make a plan, right? Make sure you get a laptop or just get a time at the internet cafe. Work on these, right? You can even save it on a USB or whatever. Email it to me, however you do it. Okay, Sandile.
Tomorrow.
So
Yeah, I was talking regarding the laptops. I think we need some time. Maybe month end we will get laptops.
all
Yeah,
right.
for those who do have laptops, the project has to be submitted Monday.
So for those who don't,
For those who don't, we'll wait for the month end, Mchana. You wanted to wait till the month end.
yeah, then
Sure.
must tell laptop month end, and so as we submit.
Yeah, Agnes stress.
Okay.
So the only guys that are submitting on Monday, that means it's HP because they have laptops. Everyone who's under HP, they have a laptop. So that means they're submitting on Monday.
Yeah, and then with the form, let's make sure that we understand each other. The form, we need a register form like this one. Not exactly like this one. You can create your own. You can change the style, the colors, the background image. You can change that. And we also need the login form. Now, the login form should only have two fields, the password and the email. You know, like your normal login form, when you log into your Facebook account, they only need your username and password, then you log in. But for your register, they need your first name and all that information. Sure, Litabo.
Yeah, got Visual Studio Code, but I don't know how to
Voila,
use it. You using it now?
voila.
I'm saying I got the VS Code.
Oh, okay.
Yes, but I don't know how to navigate. I don't know where I'm supposed to.
Okay, let me show you the link to download VS Code, because there's VS Code and then there's what's the other one? Guana Milusi, the one for like bigger projects, because there are two different ones.
Is it not this one?
It's Visual Studio 2019 and then Visual Studio.
No.
Okay.
Let's see.
You need the one that is like the blue is it the blue icon? Like yeah. It's easy and then it doesn't like chow much of your RAM. it's a bit like than your Visual Studio 2019 or the other ones.
You can download it from. Oh yeah, that's the link.
I think Solomzi, he's already downloaded it. Like he just like saying he's struggling with navigating on it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. No, there are tons of videos on YouTube
That you can
on how
watch,
to
yeah.
navigate your Visual Studio. Just search for what is it? Visual Studio Code setup for web development. They'll show you how to set it up and how to navigate and create files and view them on the browser. Just search for that on YouTube.
Visual Studio Code for web browser.
For web development.
Web development. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Are there any more questions?
Any questions, guys?
Sure, Kidiboni.
Yes, the Visual Studio Code, we can create or we can also create the assignment that you just gave it to us.
Yeah.
That? Oh, okay. Okay, thanks.
Litabo.
Yes, I wanted to ask, is it possible that thing where you submit?
Beg your pardon, them, Chana.
Let's say I'm just creating another website and I send it to somebody and they fill in the information. How do I get it to come back to me?
The information.
Yes.
Yeah, you'd have to host it online. Yeah, for that we need a different lesson for that.
Okay.
Yeah, for now the websites that we are creating are static. They are saved on your local computer, your local machine there. No one can view them. You have to host them. You need to find a hosting site and then host your website there. And then anyone from around the world can access it that way. But for now, you are the only one who can access your website. Okay, sure.
On the World Wide Web, will it be secure or?
Yeah. If you pay for that, that's why I said for that you're gonna need a separate lesson for that. Yeah, but
Okay.
if you wanted those certificates to secure your site, you usually pay for that. There are free ones, but for a big project, you're gonna have to pay. Okay, so we all good, ne?
Yes.
Evo.
All right, sure. Sure,
All right,
Melus.
guys, you know what to do. Once you're done, just drop in your name there on the chat and then the company, your sponsor, and then, yeah, you can leave the meeting. I think that's it for today. And then HP, guys, I'm not sure if tomorrow we're going to have a class or we're just giving you time to kind of complete your assignments. HP, guys, I want my module 6 today. Please, if you're under HP, please email me your module 6. Sien, where's your module 6? Pemelo, I haven't received your module 6. Nokulunga, I haven't received your module 6. Luentel, I don't have your module 6. Show Sandili.
Mr. Moyo, so did you find my module 1?
Yes, I think I did. Yeah, I think I did. Yeah.
Okay.
Sien, where is your module 6? I haven't received your module 6. Courtney, I haven't received your module 6. Sien, can you hear me? Pemelo, I'm still waiting for my module 6. Even my module 5, I don't think you submitted module 5.
Yeah, ngathi abanye balele nje kanje. Sizobona Melusi.
Sure. Ushuthi baloke ini kuphela babela bayolala. Letabo, where's my module 6? You haven't emailed me my module 6. Kidboni, sup?
Yes, Lucy. So I want to ask that if I already submitted my assignments to Adrian or to the ITT training, is it okay?
No, it's fine because they will send it to me. It's fine. I'll get it from them.
Okay, thanks.
Sure.
Yeah.
Nokulunga, I can't hear you. Can you hear me? Mfusi. Okay.
Yeah,
Nokulunga, where's my module 6?
ngizozanayo kusasa.
All right.